the middle of the road trying to offload, and unload passengers, and we were behind and stuck there, and I'm running to make it here on Smart 24 TV in time.
So I mean, a lot has to be done if we are to really, truly decongest the city. Much as we are going to receive these monies, 1.5 trillion shillings, much is to be spent on compensating.
Yes.
The people will be affected by this process of decongesting the city, compensating those the owners of the buildings where the roads will pass, some of the businesses that will be lost. But of course, our people set and ready for this, move, or it's going to be by force.
Exactly, because now I will take you back a bit. Speaking of people being ready, Ugandans, I remember, I will still tell you because this is a fact, around Chigowa Road in Ntinda, along Ntinda Chiwatule Road and along Chisas Chanja Road, yes, Ntinda Chasasi Road actually. When you go through Chigowa, there is a patch that has not been worked on for so many months because apparently the owner did not agree with the guys constructing the road, so they worked on the entrance from Ntinda Chiwatule Road, and they stopped somewhere in the middle there, and they worked on the entrance from Ntinda Chisasi Road and stopped in the middle. So when you're moving along that road, you just drive so nicely, and then you hit the bumps because the owner of the land did not agree with the constructors.
Now look at the issue of the borders in the city. The number which we are actually uncertain, because I doubt if even KCCA has the actual number of borders which are in the city. Much as you go to, I may have the records with Uganda Revenue Authority basing on those that have paid the taxes. I mean, you can't know which one is still on the road or not.
Yes.
Now, by the big number of borders which are in the city, if I'm to read a statement here from one of the officials at the ministry, Mr. Benoni Kajuna, saying that when the project kicks off, we shall push the taxis and borders out and allow them to operate from feeder roads which connect to the bus traffic transit areas. Now, borders here, we've had issues with the borders that most of them, the riders, are youths.
Yes.
What have you planned for these youths
to do,
whom you think should get out of the city center? If we are still having issues of criminality, murders and what, partly because I'm saying partly because some of these people are not employed, we assume the suspects. Now suppose with the thousands of border riders in the city are taken out of the city, what are we set for, really? In terms of employment, these are people being, if they are rendered unemployed, what will come next?
That statement did not say that they are going to take away the borders. You can always use them.
We're talking about the state center.
Exactly. And they have said they will only have access from the feeder roads leading on to the main road. And you can actually work, because people always want to get to the main road. There is no way you're going to tell me that they cannot operate around Kampala. They have said the city center, not Kampala district. I can assure you,
most of the people who are operating from, let's say, the state center, even if you got him from the city center to just merely Kajans, will not feel good.
It's not about your feelings.
Will feel offended, and of course, most of these people have stages.
Yes, they do. But those stages weren't born with them. They created them. They came and said, this is our colony. Almost, I see them, I know how they operate. Sure. But they said, this is our stage. If you're new, you don't park here. If you're from where, you don't park here. If you bring someone, drop them there, disappear. We don't want to see you. Like, this is our stage. But that does not mean they weren't even born there. Most of them are from Arua, from Bara, from Kabale, from wherever they came here and just met. Meaning they can always reorganize. It's not about your feelings. It's about the safety of the people in the city.
So for you feel the decongesting and these people like the borders, those with the matatus, the taxis, it should be by force that they should get out of the city?
It's not by force. They should use their heads when they are speaking with the authorities.
There's nothing like here like using their heads, because they
have to reason.
You can check the kind of city we have on your screen, dear viewers. You can check part of the city in Kampala. Imagine that kind of city, and somebody, I mean, we are calling for investors, some people come here to visit us, and they find such a congested capital city. What comes to your mind, really? Because some of these officials we're talking about, they visit other countries, see how traffic
What comes to my mind is that these things that you're seeing on the screen need to get out of the way. There is no such investor that is going to be a part of that traffic. Do you see that?
Yes.
There is no one that is going to be seated in that traffic for hours, and they are coming to invest here in Uganda. This is why the taxes need to get out.
Yes, Viola, my concern is the after effect of decongesting. Yes, development comes with a cost, but I mean, what have we really planned? If they say that maybe decongesting the state is going to begin, this is September, it's going to begin in January, which modalities have been put in place to ensure that these people who are to be affected are really catered for?
Your question is very good, it's very valid, and we have to cooperate with the government when they are doing such moves. But the truth is, I told you something about superpowers, superpower countries, not just happening and not falling from heaven. They work on these things and they take very extreme measures, but then they make sure that they reach the common goal that will benefit everybody. There is no way you're going to say, okay, now so-and-so will be hurt, the other one, you will just hurt their feelings, you break their hearts, and then you have such a city.
And now we've had issues of, if we are to remove the taxis from the city center, we had issues of the Pioneer bus.
Yes.
Pioneer buses were brought here, but within allocated different routes, given stopovers along the ways. But you realize that just within a short time, I think they had not set up the terms and conditions for these buses, proper terms and conditions of operation for these buses. At the end of it all, we can see them parked at Nambole for years now. So was bringing Pioneer buses a solution to decongesting the city? Still, it came with the issues.
I will partly agree with you on the part where you say maybe they did not have a proper plan for what would happen later on after introducing the buses. But usually what happens is this: people make the systems fail. The reception of these things that are happening. When Jennifer Musisi was working so hard with her team to make this city better, people were opposing her day and night, and she couldn't do much as an individual, or plus her team too. It became very difficult at some point. However much the city is trying to work and do all these things, you have to be receptive, you as the person on the ground. There is no way Jennifer Musisi or maybe Arias Lukwago is going to make anything happen unless we are ready for this to happen.
Now, you brought in the issue of Mr. Lukwago and Jennifer Musisi. This issue, let me hope that it will not be hijacked by the politics of the city, because issues concerning borders, taxis, I mean tax parks and bus parks within the city, we've had them, we've had a collision, let me say parallel lines between the technical team that was previously led by Ms. Jennifer Musisi and now Mr. Andrew Chitaka, and a political team which is led by Mr. Arias Lukwago. That at the end of it all, more so that we are headed to elections, I can assure you this good plan may be hijacked by politics.
You know what happens, like I said, the truth is people usually fail themselves, and there isn't much anyone can do. I won't talk for 4 hours trying to tell people to not do these funny things, but of course they will do them, and that all goes back to the individual. Why would you be in an office and you're still behaving like you're somewhere digging in something, or maybe railing goats somewhere? The truth is you have to use your head, like I said. You have to use your head and know what you're doing. You don't come up with such a plan without a backup and without a proper explanation and illustration of how you plan to do it. Because
unfortunately, like you talked about these stages of borders, they are man-made by these cyclists. But I've not seen any alternative stages out of the city that these people use when they got out of the city. Talk of the border cyclists, which number is not known, which stages are not officially legalized, where they normally park. Now, you are going to take them out of the city. Have you set up special stages for them? These taxis which you want to get out of the city, much as this is a good plan, by the way, to the viewers, this is a good plan, but how it should be done is my concern.
But you know that this is literally just an article in a paper, and whoever wrote this had it. Otherwise, they would have told us, so they plan to do this, they plan to have a stage in Chiwatule in this deep road, deep village, deep, you know. But this is a story that is saying what they had. Government seeks 1.5 trillion shillings to decongest the city. the government is seeking for that money, but it's not like there is a laid out plan here on this page of how they're going to do, so we can now begin saying this plan is wrong or this stage won't work. We are just seeing things in corridors. We need the official statement, and then we shall be able to know if they are wrong or right.
But I'm concerned by the fact that it's going to be the plan is to be taken, I mean, in 4 phases, in 3 phases for the next 3 to 4 years. Let's hope that by the end of it all, everything will be streamlined, and more so that we are going to, I mean, times of active politics. Let's hope that politics will not take over the whole system, that so, hey, I'm your voter, hey, our voter, that kind of stuff normally comes up whenever we are headed to elections, and some of these plans, programs fail out. So let's hope that, and we call for, of course, unification of the technical team and the political team.
And the public at large.
And the public at large. When you talk about the public at large, now, KCCA and the Minister of Works, Minister of Internal Affairs, had plans of registering all the boda cyclists. This is a plan that has been in place for years. That's when we had even cliques of boda cyclists to the likes of the Boda 2010, which had issues up to date. But now it all failed. If they would begin with the registration of these cyclists, first of all, they register them, you get to know the number of cyclists that you have in the city. That can be a modality to planning to them, that maybe people in such and such an area, you are going to be relocated to such and such places.
But truth is, as we speak, they could have actually had the number. You can't be very sure that they don't have the number.
They don't have the number. That I'm sure.
You're very sure?
I'm very sure.
Right to this moment?
Yeah, I'm very sure.
And then again, the number keeps on increasing by night, by day, daily. So even if you have the number, trust me, trust Uganda that anything can change anytime.
Now, let me tell you, the only few sources of information one can get about some of the number of bodabodas we have is from the Uganda Revenue Authority, based on those who are paying taxes, and maybe these few registered companies like Boda, Bolt, and whatsoever.
No. I want to disagree with you, Owen. Please let me. On the fact that URA has the right number of maybe taxes, or they have something close to the right number. I want to disagree with you, because URA is literally suffering their own battle. People are evading taxes, and which is why I will not register my Boda. I will come out at night and disappear as soon as the day comes.
I thank you for verifying my point that there is no, they don't have the right number.
No, that's what I only said for URA. I did not say for KCCA. At least KCCA goes down. I meet KCCA at around 11 in the night. They are working, tracking people. So I think their data is at least way better than URA.
What of these boda cyclists who don't have stages? How are they catered for?
That's the thing. I already told you, Owen.
How do you get their numbers?
I already told you, Owen, that there is no way that you can track all these things, because daily borders keep on increasing.
True.
Yes, so even if you were to say, the only thing you can say is to say, border guys, get out of the city. Because anything that looks like a border, then you'll be able to tell that's a border, not a car.
What, do you think a mere talk or a mere command that borders get out of the city can work?
Yes, it's going to work. Things always work around here.
So let's hope that cases here and all those concerned will really handle this issue with care, because it's really sensitive.
Very sensitive.
Also, when it comes at a moment when you're having some insecurity issues in some places, and some murders ongoing.
Sorry, it should be very important to note that most murders are committed using borders.
True.
Yes, all of the shootings, all of those funny things that have happened have been carried out on borders, at least 95%.
Okay, thank you very much for staying tuned to the Smart Right Show on Smart 24 TV as we broadcast live from Magoola. That's me, Owen, and Viola. We are going to go for a brief commercial break, and we shall be right back. Please stay tuned.
Smart 24. Smart Business.
Yellow Bits.
They call me Mr. Gugusa, aka Don Data, or Taboo. Yeah, I'm the Rio G, cool fire, hot ice. MTN data Wengula Chokumi. Mfuna bibidi, mu dictionary double MBs, not single, but double. Yeah, I'm gangster. In fact, I don't surf one internet, I surf two internets. When I order for ghost meat, give me 2 sticks, double. Those things of one app are for children. Me, I open 2 apps at the same time. I'm the worst. No, I'm the baddest. Hey, I'm the baddest, double.
Mwah! You had the Don. Double your MBs on MTN. Dial star 150 star 10 hash to load a daily data bundle and get double MBs on the best network in town.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Are you currently looking for the best ladies' outfits? Cleopatra Fashion Store can help take stress out of finding one. Cleopatra Fashion Store is located in Ntinda at Apex Building. No matter what you're looking for, size or style. Casual wear, office wear, maternity, jewel and handbag are in store for all of your choices. Open from Monday to Sunday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. For bookings or more details, contact 0776 909494 or 0702 655635. Cleopatra Fashion Store. Look good.
This is Jordan. When it comes to classwork, Jordan is magic. Jordan shines. Jordan makes his peers better. Jordan is a true leader. White Star Magic Family. Be a leader. Be magic.
What's wrong with you?
Give your family the best classy TV experience. Unmatched cartoons on Nickelodeon, ST Kids and Da Vinci Learning for children. Classy Ladies, Novella E Plus for Cinderella telenovelas, Ebony Life and Fine Living for trendy lifestyle. ST Nollywood Plus for the latest Nigerian movies. And for gentlemen,
You should have never gave it away.
award-winning series on Fox. Simply subscribe to Classic Bouquet and enjoy an amazing offer of only 26,000 shillings per month. Classic Bouquet, a feeling of class.
Mwe bachali, njagala kufuna looni kulakulanye bizinesi zange naye oba nkole ntya.
Kenda ku Yako.
Yako?
Yeah. Do you need a loan? Yako MDI is here for you. We have business loans, car and border loans, housing and small business loans, school fees loans, and we are financing Tata trucks at the best rates in Uganda. Find us at Raja Chambers, Parliamentary Avenue, or call 0707 591 626 for more details. Yako MDI, financing a better future. Yako MDI is regulated by the Bank of Uganda.
Smart 24. Smart Business.
Thank you very much for keeping it here on the Smart Rise Show here on Smart 24 TV Uganda. And of course, you can go to our social media pages. That is Smart 24 TV Uganda for Facebook and at Smart 24 for Twitter. It's just a little after 8:30 a.m. and of course the Uganda-Tanzania Business Forum 2019 is ongoing in Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam, and Owen is still here with me, of course, on set, and we shall be talking a little bit about it. But we have a correspondent right now in Dar es Salaam, and that is Saddam. There are so many other people that are accompanying him. We have the Honorable Sam Kutesa, that is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Uganda. We have His Excellency Richard T. Kabonero, that's the High Commissioner of Uganda to Tanzania. And of course, the counterparts on the other side are also ready. They are a part of this team.
Yeah, but of course, this business forum, the Tanzania-Uganda Business Forum, will be the first of its kind for Tanzania. And it's really a stepping stone to the increased relationship between Uganda and Tanzania.
That right there is that.
Smart 24 TV from wherever you are in Uganda. It is very, very, very exciting. A very exciting morning. And of course, we are here. We are here at the Julius Nyerere International Conference Center, commonly known as Mwalimu Julius Nyerere Center. That's how the Tanzanians call him. And of course, we traveled all the way from Uganda to come here. Good morning to those who are in studio, my friend Owen Kaswabuli, and of course, my girlfriend, I can see you there. A very good morning. And of course, we are here finally today, the 5th of September, and of course, we have started the journey of the Uganda-Tanzania Business Forum. We are here to commemorate the first of its kind, the Uganda-Tanzania Business Forum, that is actually going to look at a lot of issues to do with trade, to do with oil, to do with business, and to do with a lot of very interesting things for the two countries, like I told you last night, for Uganda and Tanzania. And of course, this particular event, at this time round, we started in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and of course, next year, of course, in the same month, we will be in Uganda, where we'll actually have the second edition of the Uganda-Tanzania Business Forum. This is the venue, and of course, today, the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, he's going to be here. And of course, the President of Tanzania, Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, is also going to be here. And of course, they will be here trying to move around and, of course, to grace the event and to open up to see what is happening right here at the Julius Nyerere International Conference Center. For those of you who are in Uganda, of course, the Uganda-Tanzania Business Forum might be new to your ears, but it is one of the summits that have come up to look at the business ties between Uganda and Tanzania. You know, we've been having a lot of issues to do with border trading, but as far as you might get concerned, we are actually establishing the one-stop borders at most of the borders in the country. And of course, if you try to move around, doing business between Uganda and Tanzania has been quite challenging. That is why a few business people have been using the main entry of Mutukula to Uganda. But apparently, those are some of the issues that are meant to be tackled here in the Uganda-Tanzania Business Forum. Now, for starters, Smart 24 TV is here in Dar es Salaam trying to look at what is going to happen. These are the key things that are going to happen in this summit as of today. We will be looking at the bilateral trades, and of course we will have a lot of panelists from Uganda and Tanzania who will be discussing this in details. And of course we will have the oil and gas sector, where we will have experts from all over the world to discuss how can Uganda and Tanzania benefit from the oil that is actually in Uganda. You know very well that the Tanga up to Hoima oil pipeline is already in place, and of course they are doing the constructions, meaning that we are ready to extract our oil that is in the Bunyoro sub-region. Now, thirdly, we are going to look at the investment. We're talking about how can Uganda and Tanzania utilize the investment opportunity to get at the best out for their population. Look at things to do with trading. Uganda is a landlocked country that requires Tanzania and Kenya to trade. And of course, if we don't have Tanzania, where actually this city we are in that lies at the shores of the Indian Ocean, it means that we need to have this country with us to do our trading successfully. Thirdly, this conference is also going to look at how the well-being of our people is going to be in as far as trading is concerned. For example, we've been having issues of Ugandan business people who actually trade between Uganda and Tanzania, being charged a lot of fees on the road and others. But apparently it is one of the issues that will be tackled. And of course, among the notable speakers that I cannot leave out, we will have government officials, we will have the Private Sector Foundation Uganda and the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation. They are actually the main players in this particular thing, because this summit is basically looking at the private sector, though without the government, the private sector can't stand. So that is why we are in Tanzania, and of course we are going to be bringing to you each and every bit of the Uganda-Tanzania Business Forum. If my cameraman can try to show you around, you can see the stalls are ready, and of course a lot of exhibitors will be exhibiting their kind of merchandise and trade. You can see all the stalls are actually taking shape. You can see the delegates are actually entering in. Those are the business people. We have people from all walks of life that are doing business between Uganda and Tanzania. And of course, if you look at the kind of exhibition that is going to be graced by President John Pombe Magufuli and President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, it is quite an interesting one. For example, you can look at how people have
Thank you very much for watching the Smart Rise show today morning. That is what is happening in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. That is Bashir talking to us and telling us what exactly is happening on the ground. And of course, he said among the key things to discuss, there is bilateral trade between Uganda and Tanzania. We have the issues at the border that have to be clarified, and we have 16 panelists who are going to be answering and talking to us and telling us what is going to be decided between Uganda and Tanzania on various issues. We also have 300 exhibitors, people that are showcasing what they can do between the two countries. And there are over 1,000 delegates that have graced the occasion, and that is what we are doing right here at Smart 24 TV. You just watched what's happening in Tanzania.
Yeah, but of course, still concerning that Tanzania-Uganda Business Forum, like Bashir has really reported, the bilateral relations between the two countries. This time around, we are focusing on the bilateral economic relations between the two countries, Tanzania and Uganda. This is another beef up of the relations between the two countries. Like we were analyzing some of the issues yesterday, we've had some more issues concerning our products to Tanzania, like maize, sugar. Now it's a high time, and we're hopeful that by the end of this business forum, more so our top leaders, the two presidents, and the delegation from both countries shall have come up with a way forward.
Yes.
On the products from Uganda to TZ, on the products on items from TZ to Uganda, such that there is that smooth trading between the two countries. I mean, because this is a chance. I mean, it's to create an enabling platform for Tanzania private sectors to share experiences, create business networks with Uganda.
Yes.
So it's yet another opportunity that we have to use to ensure that this is fulfilled between the private sector of Uganda and that of Tanzania, but still as a country at large. So I really think by the end of the day, by the end of the forum, we shall have a benefit, a national benefit from this business forum.
Yes, what you're seeing on screen is the checkpoint. People are checking in. The delegates from different countries are walking in, and they're going to be a part of the function. And that is exactly what is happening at the moment. Owen, do you think that Uganda is ready? While this African Community Business Council is trying its best to position the region on a very high stage for its manufacturing and production of goods and services, do you think that Uganda is going to be ready enough to be a part of this and, of course, take a position?
Yeah, I really think so, because Uganda is moving to a step whereby we want to ensure that there is import substitution for export promotion. So when these forums come on board, like this latest Tanzania-Uganda Business Forum, it's an opportunity for us to have a bargaining power for our exports to Tanzania and other countries, than again to import more items like we've been doing before. So these are some of the modalities the government and other institutions, other stakeholders are putting in place to ensure that we reach to our target of ensuring export promotion.
That's very true. We are still, of course, people are still walking in, as you can see. We shall be showing you exactly what happens on the ground as the day, goes on, because this is what we are doing here at Smart 24. People are there, our correspondents are already there. We had Bashir earlier, and he is still going to be in touch with us and let you guys know exactly what is happening. Now, Owen, it is believed that in Africa, the biggest challenge that the countries face is corruption, bureaucracy. A lot of those things affect our production and our exports and imports. What would you comment about that kind of thing?
When you talk about corruption for this case of business, I think it gets me back to when it comes to this point of ensuring quality.
Yes.
Our quality supervisors, how are they handling the situation? If we are still having complaints of our products having issues of quality at the international market, how are the checkups? Because we have like the UNBS, government body that is supposed to ensure quality. But now we have like the Uganda Coffee Development Authority. We have lots of authorities, lots of bodies that are supposed to ensure the quality of these products. What's being done? Is the manpower enough to ensure that the quality is maintained? Manpower and qualified numbers of people to supervise and check the quality of these products. So it's really a concern that if we are to, much as we get these markets, international markets, we have to sit down, design and implement ways of how to ensure quality of our products. So you talked about the issue of corruption. Corruption comes in that at a point of one who is supposed to ensure quality is compromised.
Of course.
That this is this, no. Just then one gets a tip, a bribe, and lets the goods go. When they get out of the borders of Uganda, still the other country will not be satisfied with what you have checked in your country. They will also find ways. They must ensure that they also check by their officials. So at the end of it all, if it reaches to a market where their officials cannot be bribed, that's why we are getting concerns of, quality of our products being compromised, quality of our products having issues. So it gets back to how our officials should have the national cause to ensure that what they check goes beyond the borders of Uganda and fits the international market.
Exactly. Right now we are talking about the Uganda-Tanzania Business Forum 2019, and what you see on your screen is what is happening in Dar es Salaam at the Nyerere Convention Center today, when Uganda and Tanzania meet and discuss what the way forward is for the two countries concerning trade and business that is conducted between the two countries.
This is the Smart 24 TV. This is our Smart Rise show. Of course, it runs up to 9 a.m., but we are having a special occasion of the Tanzania-Uganda Business Forum, and we're having a live broadcast from TZ. Our reporters are there to ensure that you get wholesome of the information. Remember, Smart 24 TV is your business information center.
That is Bashir right there, coming up and telling us more about what's happening.
Conference Center, where we are actually trying to bring to you the business summit, the Tanzania-Uganda Business Summit. And of course, right about now, the Minister of State in charge of lands, who is actually in charge of the boundaries, who is in charge of the demarcation of the lands, Honorable Persis Namuganza, is here. And she has actually arrived. And of course, we're going to have a one-on-one with her. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning to you.
Back in Uganda, people are watching you right now on Smart 24 TV. And of course, basically, why are we here today?
We are here for a joint business forum, but in that joint business forum, there are so many issues that Uganda and Tanzania have been dialoguing for a very long time. One of them, as you hear, business is trade, but in trade there are issues to do with tariffs, the charges that they are charging on business people. We have also discussed the sugar export by Uganda to Tanzania, which was halted, but we requested that Tanzania should really accept our sugar, and they have accepted. They are going to sign a memorandum of understanding today, clearing Uganda. Also, the other issue that had been halted was the poultry, because of the bird flu, something that happened sometime in Uganda. The Tanzanian had stopped taking our eggs, our chicken and all that. But now, after lifting that halt by the World Health Organization that deals with the issues to do with birds and animals and what, after that certificate came back, they have accepted. Also, the other issue is the land boundaries, the border boundaries. We have been with issues to do with border boundaries in Mutukura and Bukoba side. We have been dialoguing. So we have agreed that we are going to commence this exercise again after sensitizing the population that stays at the border and creating a buffer zone that will be a common area which we want to be covered by a forest so that we improve our environment. So I'm grateful that at least quite a number of issues that were raised by us and them are really being brought to an end, especially things to do with trade, because we really need income, we need our people to export and get good money, but also as East African agreements which they signed, we are supposed to abide to it. We found that Tanzania is still charging certain fees which the East African community countries decided not to charge. So they have said they are going to go back and really remove those tariffs. So I'm happy. So what is going to take place this morning is to sign the memorandum of understandings in those areas that I have talked about.
Honorable, we know about the private sector, one of the most key sectors in the country. And of course, when we talk about business at the border, it is majorly the private sector. But we've had issues, like you said, issues to do with charges and everything. Now, what I want to know, someone who is watching back in Uganda, after the signing of these memorandum of understandings, how are people going to be sensitized to get to know that now this is what is happening? Because these things happen, and of course we end up putting pen on paper, but without implementation.
Yeah, of course, it's our responsibility as government to inform our people of what we have decided or whatever we have signed. Like you've witnessed, that's why you are here, that every memorandum of understanding which is being signed is witnessed by the press and you are our voices out there, the people who are not part of this conference, to know what has taken place. And everybody probably is saying, why is Uganda meeting with Tanzania, as you have asked me? So I think through you, the people, press people, and also we go back and continue to sensitize our people that this is what we have agreed, this is not yet, it's still pending. It's our responsibility, both governments. Yeah.
Honorable, you happen to come from Busoga, where we have issues to do with sugarcane. And we actually think with the Busoga who are in sugarcane planting, we think that this is the time we need to have a market that cuts across. But there are issues here and there. I want your assurance in Lusoga, to the people in Busoga who are watching Smart 24 TV, their TV, what is going to happen about sugarcane?
Ekijja okubaawo ku bikaado tusabye bannaffe aba Tanzania okuyiramu okugula sukaali wa Uganda, kubanga baali beemereza okugula sukaali ono we wayitawo olugambo nti Uganda yali tali kutunda sukaali waayo, twali tuli kwongeranga okupaakinga sukaali munsi yaife aye nga tumutoyire mu dindi. Tanzania yatuma ttiimu yaida okulekebera amakolero ga sukaali, baatuuka neerekakira wamadivaani n'agandi bakakasa nti sukaali tulinaye mu bungi gwe basobola okugula, ate benda ino sukaali wa Uganda. So batukobye nti olw'okuba ekyo kye baayenda ino okutegeera kiviirewo, kubanga Tanzania efa ino ku bantu baayo okubona mbu tibanwa bintu bitatuuka ine na mutindo. Tosobola kuyingiza wano kintu kyonna kyonna kyakulya okutoolaku nga bakakayisa nti kirungi era iwe okikoze oli oti not. So we bakebera basiima omutindo, basiima obuyondo, babona ne sukaali nga mungi. Nabo betukakayisa nti baida kubanga batwala tons ansida emitwalo 5 ku 7, era batukoba nti bazira buzibu bwona kubanga kirene kyali kiri bawaliriza. So nendo okumya abalimi baife ab'ebikaado nti n'essaawa dino babaire bali kulira nti madivaani n'abaani tibali gula bikaado oba bali bigula ku bbeeyi ntono ino, kubanga eno sukaali ensi edimu ezigula sukaali omungi nga Tanzania daalekera okugula sukaali. So bona nga tibasobola kugula sukaali ku bbeeyi ya waigulu. N'olwekyo naawo dati ekyo Abatanzania bakiikirizwa okuyiramu okugula sukaali yaife. Nze ndowooza nti akamwenumwenu kabaire ku matama.
Tuyanziza Honorable, thank you so much. That is Honorable Pasis Namuganza, the woman member of parliament from Busiga, and of course she has given you insights about what is happening, what is going to happen here at the Uganda-Tanzania Business Summit. And of course a lot of people are still coming in, and we'll keep updating you about what is happening right here at the Julius Nyerere International Conference Center. You can have a look at what is happening at the entertainment sector, and of course people are still welcoming people, and of course we are still coming to you. Back to you in studio, guys.
Tanzania, yeah, you can see the entertainment, the fun that is happening, and people are just arriving. Most of them are still arriving, but the biggest thing will be happening during the course of the day. But he just talked to the minister, the state minister for lands, that is Pasis Namuganza, who talks about what happened between Uganda and Tanzania when the quality of our products dropped. That is for eggs, chicken, and sugar.
Yeah, now Minister Namuganza was talking about bird flu that hit Uganda. Bird flu, I recall bird flu hit Uganda in July 2009. And the first case was reported on the 1st of July. That was 1st of July 2009.
Yes.
About this bird flu, commonly known as influenza A. That's when we got that case. And a number of countries banned our eggs, our chicken from going to their countries. Among them was Tanzania, but of course this ban, it really affected us. Kenya banned, Tanzania banned, but of course Kenya lifted its ban. It was in August 2017. They lifted the ban on our Ugandan products, and around 3 countries were allowed, companies were allowed to export to Kenya. So even Tanzania followed suit, and of course, as Minister has stated, that Uganda, we had still issues concerning our sugar. That maybe it had issues. Tanzania alarmed that Uganda was packing and repacking the sugar to their country, and so they put a ban. But of course, it's on record that Ugandan sugar is so sweet that Tanzanians, unless they do anything, whatever they can do, they put something they can do to ensure that they accept, because our sugar is really better than theirs. That's on record. So it's high time when these business forums come on board, that such bans are lifted.
Yes.
And of course, it shouldn't take delays, because we've had issues of, memorandum of understandings being reached out, being signed. But I mean, when it comes to implementation of what has been agreed upon, that's where the problem comes.
But
the time lag to
yes.
implement what has been agreed upon becomes again another public concern, that maybe the president signed this and this, agreed on this and that, but what's on the ground?
That's the truth, but the minister told us, she was kind enough to tell us that they will let us know what comes out of the summit. Of course, we can capture some of the things, but then most of them will have to be communicated officially when they return to the country, especially from the president. They will have to speak to us, the common Ugandan, the common person, what they've they have concluded with at the end of this business summit. But what you see on your screen is the entertainment part of the entry of the delegates into the Business Forum 2019, and this is happening today in Tanzania at the Nyerere Convention Center that is in Dar es Salaam.
Of course, I liked it when the minister, Pastor Namuganza, was commenting about sugar, more so that she comes from Busoga, where issues of sugar have really come up because many people from Busoga are really depending on sugar cane production, the main growers, the outgrowers. And of course, they had issues that they were not being allowed to sell the sugarcane even to Kenya, to neighboring countries.
Yes.
But it's good. I hope that she'll bring the information as required by the stakeholders in the sugar subsector. That at least by the end of it all, we shall see that the people, most of those ones, the sugarcane growers, get value for their efforts. I say value for their efforts, meaning that I'm putting focus on the other local farmer,
yes,
who has, left out other crops, focused on sugarcane production, and at the end of it all, sees a ban on sugar to other countries, gets low value for the money, for the efforts and the money he or she put in to grow the sugarcane.
Yes.
So at the end of it all, Minister Pastor Namuganza, we hope that whatever the information she will bring back to the people will be motivational for them to further grow sugarcane, with hopes that there will be ready market for the produce.
Of course, speaking of market, that is exactly what is going to be discussed today. How best can we sell our goods between the two countries, and of course beyond the East African community? There is the East African Community Business Council, which is hosting this, which is the lead organizer of this, so they should be able, now the fact that they are based on business, East African Business Council, they should be able to tell us and to discuss amongst themselves what is best for Uganda and Tanzania when concerning the entire Africa and the entire world when it comes to the market for their produce, and of course maintaining the standards. Now, what you just saw earlier on the screen, that was the first Uganda-Tanzania Business Forum 2019, which is happening today, and we are keeping track on what is taking place with our correspondent, that is Bashir, who is in Dar es Salaam right now. But we are discussing back and forth, Owen and I, what to expect out of this and what has been facing the two countries right before this business forum. Now, Uganda has had a very big issue concerning the agro-produce that is going outside the country, of course in Africa. Now, it is very surprising that the East African Union was the first one to react, because I'm very sure they were going all over Africa before they actually went the other side. And it was the first market to react, and it kind of beats my understanding how we didn't notice, us as Africa, as the East African community, way before things became too bad.
But it was their concern that, of course, everything gets back to the quality of our products.
Yes, yes.
That's our outcry about the quality of our products. About the quality of our products, that we need to not to compromise the quality of our products if we are to compete favorably.
Exactly. If we want to stay long, and no matter how tough the market is, that is one thing that they should emphasize today.
And of course, when these forums are organized, what you must come to your mind is that at the end of it all, there will be a win-win situation. Much as we are going to Tanzania to expand the market, Tanzania will be analytical on how it is going to benefit from such products, and the market. as well as Uganda coming on board, how it's going to benefit out of this expo. But of course, Viola, I was looking at the agenda of this forum, yes, and some of the issues that are to be discussed during this forum that need really critical analysis. They have an issue concerning financing the planned infrastructure development in Uganda and Tanzania. Yes. Infrastructures between Uganda and Tanzania. They have issues of funding the small and medium enterprises, cottage industries and small artisans. They have issues concerning supply chain financing for key sectors, including agriculture. We hope they will discuss the utilizing private sector investments in social sectors, particularly education and health. We hope they will discuss the financial situations, mobile money payments and cryptocurrencies, and also we hope that they will discuss access to financial services by the citizens of Uganda and Tanzania. That's so far which is on the agenda. In case there is nothing that changes, that's what we expect them to be discussing by a number of panelists, like Viola told you. Talking about this agenda and the issues to be discussed, yes, what would be your area of
interest? Something caught my attention, and that is about the SMEs. We just know that just the other day, you are on the launch of their Taxpayers Appreciation Week. We're talking about how the economy, the SMEs are like an engine to the economy. They matter so much, and they actually pay taxes consistently. So I want to understand why banks are really hesitant when it comes to giving out money to these people and helping them, you know, grow as they start out. I don't know why it's so difficult.
Talking about banks too, why they're hesitant to give out some of the loans. Yes. When it comes to agricultural products, they are seasonal. They are seasonal, and so we've reached at a moment when seasons are unpredictable. We were talking about last time the Uganda Meteorological Center claiming they need more resources to buy the rightful machines
that they do not
give the correct information about weather forecast. Now we are having our farmers growing. I mean, when they receive some raindrops, they assume the season for rain has started. Yes. They start growing. Just after a week or a month, it dries. So with the unpredictable weather, I mean the agricultural seasons, the banks are hesitant. Now you're given a loan or with an interest. Yes. Suppose the season doesn't work out for you. How will the bank, benefit from that? So that's why one reason banks really feel they can work with people who are dealing in pharmaceuticals, who are dealing in machines, because pharmaceuticals, sickness has no season.
Yes, I understand.
And so they know that if Viola came for a loan and is dealing in pharmaceuticals, and Owen came for a loan is doing in agricultural products, it's obvious you will be at an advantage than me, because for you, sickness has no season. For me, my products are seasonal. So it's one reason they are really hesitant to give the loans to the agricultural, farmers.
Well, that is very true. It is one of the reasons, but then I would want to know those several other reasons, because that is totally affecting the economy, whether we like it or not. The SMEs need funding to be able to take off the ground, and because they're the best of the economy. And so if we are only focusing on industries and companies that have made it, I don't think that is the way to go for us.
But now we have issues of also the collaterals which are required, if they really discuss some of these issues, small and medium enterprise development, we have to consider the collaterals which are really needed for one to get the loans. These loans to boost their businesses. Just imagine somebody wants to start off a business, yes, a small or medium enterprise, and the security which is required for this person to access the loan is really high, to the extent that if this person, sits back, imagines, I have my land title, suppose I give it in and I fail to pay the loan, it goes. How will my life remain? So these are some of the things that have to be really looked at, and of course extension of subsidies to these small and medium enterprises. Both governments in Tanzania and Uganda have to consider this extension of subsidies to these entrepreneurs.
Yes,
because you realize that both economies, that of Tanzania and the one of Uganda, the informal sector is really large. And it accommodates a number of people, more so that we are having a population of the youth being higher, that the governments cannot be able to accommodate them with the jobs.
Yes, of course.
At the end of it all, they will resort to the informal sector. But we have to look at the factors. Which factors are there to ensure that these people in the informal sector are also living, are also enjoying whatever they are doing? So these are some of the modalities that have to be looked into in these forums if we are really to have value for those forums and also for our businesses.
That is very true. If you're just joining us, you're watching Smart 24 TV Uganda. We are broadcasting live in Magoola. This is Viola and Owen, and we are talking about that thing that you see on your screen, which is the Uganda-Tanzania Business Forum 2019, where the two countries are meeting to discuss issues concerning trade and everything in between.
Yeah, now we having issues of cryptocurrencies being handled, if they're to be handled, cryptocurrency being the latest form of, transacting and dealing with money. Of course, it's the latest in our economies. In Uganda, it began around 2009, but of course, in cryptocurrency, still the public needs to be sensitized about this cryptocurrency, because as of now, let me talk about Uganda, that Bank of Uganda has not openly come out to give us the regulations that were supposed to be followed in monitoring the cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
Yes, it's the latest, but
that's very true, Owen, but we shall get back to that. That is very true. We have to get to sensitize our own people about what exactly surrounds cryptocurrencies. Yes, you don't just jump onto it because you will lose everything that you have. You really have to know what you are doing. And I can see something about the private sector in investment, how the two countries are going to benefit from the private sector. Because remember, there has to be a connection between government and the private sector, government bodies and the private sector, for the country for the economy to be able to benefit from both.
Now, on the agenda, they are to have utilizing private sector investments in social sectors,
yes,
particularly education and health. Let me begin with education. In education, yes, like for the case of Uganda,
yes,
it's a liberalized economy that even in the education sector, schools, universities, we have private schools and universities. So it calls for both governments' hands towards the private sector.
Yes.
If you talk about the education sector, there should be a partnership. Like I can give an example. One has set up a school, it's doing well, then the government come and say, maybe we are going to pay for your teachers. That will be a relief to this school. If you are talking about, education, look at the cost of education at the universities.
Yes.
Is it favorable to, of course it can't be favorable to each and every person, but is it to the minimum, minimum levels that one can really afford? Even a person who is, we talk about agriculture, even somebody who is just waiting for a season of agricultural harvest, is that person able to, pay for the education in the country?
Can I interrupt you for a bit? What's your reaction when it comes to the biased attitude by Ugandan people? I don't know about Tanzania, but Ugandan people, when it comes to government bodies, schools, hospitals, everything that is government here, people have some sort of biased attitude with the way they approach them.
One of the issues is that, you remember the private sector, they do advertise, they do sensitize about what they create awareness.
Yes.
There is so much awareness about what's happening in the private sector than what is actually in the being done by the government.
Drowning the government.
So that is the concern.
Yeah.
But the way we receive this information, what comes to your mind when you hear that there is when you look at when it's time to getting back to school, it's private schools that advertise. I don't know if you have seen an advert of a government school.
What would you say about the efforts made by the private sector when they are giving out services and their products? For example, a private school is going to have a swimming pool, a very legit dining area, and the government school will have no swimming pool and will just have, classrooms. And some of them actually, to be honest, I have seen some government schools which only have one classroom block that has only 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms, and that's it for a school. What would you say about that? Don't don't you think it triggers the biased reaction?
The biased reaction is, first of all, it's a mindset. For you feel, you go even, you see, politics has somehow disturbed our minds. That if you don't say support the government, therefore whatever it brings on board is bad.
Oh, yes.
That's a wrong attitude because issues vary. Look at education. Now, why wouldn't you have trust in your government school to the extent that you even trust an international school in Uganda than a government school? But of course, it all calls for government to come up and, facilitate them, the private school, the government schools, because these are schools with budgets which are on taxpayer. We budget for them, we give them the money. But whatever is provided for, what is being, used for. But still have issues of numbers. If you look at like UPE, that a pupil per term is paid for less than 10,000 shillings per term. That's, so worrying. A term, this is a person, you expect the school, you expect them to have some, say, outings, to have them, the textbooks are not enough.
Yes.
So the mindset of these people, of the public, gets back to the private sector. So I think we must not look at the private sector as a competitor, but a partner in development.
I understand.
If we look at them as a partner of development, it means that the government has to come in and extend to this, to the private sector, giving the resources. Like I told you, if somebody has set up a school, it's doing well, students are passing well, they have the number of students are there. Give them the textbooks. Give them the laboratory requirements. But again, what I expect in this forum about education is that they are going to, I hope they discuss the cost of education between the two countries. Like at university level, why should a student from TZ come here and pay in dollars? Yet we are calling ourselves brothers and sisters. We are calling, we are all yearning for the best out of the East African community.
Yes.
I think there should be uniformity.
And of course, those are some of the issues that have to be discussed today and addressed immediately.
So when we come to the health sector, still a lot has to be done. We need to support still the private sector because we have issues with the government hospitals. A lot is talked about them. So when we still have the private people coming on board to assist with, you hear of health center 3, 4 and whatsoever, clinics and whatsoever. So these people may not have whatever it takes to provide the best, let me say the basic health services.
Yes.
But even with supervision, I have the periodic training of these medics in the private health centers. This will motivate them to further provide actual quality services to the masses.
Yes.
But if they are left and looked at just in terms of taxes, receiving taxes from them, it will leave, I can assure you, it will leave gaps and questions to be, posed as to why the quality services are still questionable.
Well, you are watching Smart 24 TV Uganda, and of course today there is a very special occasion, that is the Uganda-Tanzania Business Summit 2019 that is happening right now at the Nyerere Convention Center in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And of course the issues that are going to be discussed concern bilateral trade, investment and sustainable development. We have our team on the ground, and that is Bashir, we have Saddam, we have Jacqueline, Arinda, and we also have Ibra. They will be talking to us and telling us everything that is taking place. Now, Owen, you talked about something to do with the planned infrastructure between Uganda and Tanzania, and that brings me back to the standard gauge railway. I do not see anything that has started here in Uganda. What would be your comment about that?
The standard gauge railway, I look at it as a solution to providing cheap means of transport, more so when it comes to transporting luggage, goods.
Yes.
The cost of transporting goods by road is high, by air is high, by water it's not even
reliable.
Enough, not even reliable, I may say. So we look at rail transport, it could be a solution.
And between the two countries,
and between the two countries.
Yes.
So now, when it comes to the issue of standard gauge railway, it comes to the funders. For us as Uganda, we had hopes that America would really come on board and assist us, provide the fundings. But it came to, I mean, they were putting lots of terms and conditions. I mean, you see, America even goes an extra mile into interfering in your local affairs, as much as they want to fund you.
Yes.
Now we are looking at China as our latest darling to providing funds to this, standard gauge railway. But still with issues of, much as we need the standard gauge railway, we borrow the funds, but still we have to be analytical on the terms and conditions behind these loans.
That's the thing. When you said earlier that we were hoping that America would come on board,
yes.
We do not hope. We sit down and have talks and discuss these things and know where we stand with these countries.
Yeah.
I do not think that an entire country, an entire economy can depend on hoping for better, hoping for the best. You do not hope. You sit down and discuss these things and know where you stand, and then you move on. You have to be aggressive when it comes to developing your country as a president, as a government, as a team. No, I know that, but you cannot keep hoping. These people will let you down, definitely.
But of course, if you look at our budget that we still have, we have to fund the debt that we have,
yes.
which is at over 41% to the limit of 50%. You realize that much as we collect the revenue, we read the GDP and whatsoever, but we have to put a portion to pay off this, the loans. But still, the sectors are still standing. So Tanzania and Uganda, I really think this standard gauge railway, if it's put in practice, of course, the infrastructure development, it will help still to ease the transportation of the goods between the two countries. But even then, when we talk about infrastructure, of late, Tanzania, we hope that by the end of it all, they will be welcoming to our Uganda Airlines.
Yes.
Because we're talking about infrastructure for this case, and if we are talking about means of transport, we have the latest Uganda Airlines, which is back
in action,
yes. After 18 years of collapse. So we hope that Tanzania will embrace our Uganda Airlines.
Yes.
Still not to, yes, we are competitors in the business, but since we are, the other word I used, we are brothers and sisters. So
yes.
They should welcome our Uganda Airlines if the mobility between the two countries is to be carried on.
Well, there is this thing about Kenya is very good at manufacturing, and the industries are very many. It is producing a lot, but then there is a comparison between with the rest of the countries in the East African community. Uganda and the rest of the countries are fast growing. However much Kenya is producing too much, it is not growing as fast as Uganda or Tanzania is doing. What would you say about that kind of thing? And also, Uganda, most of these countries do their own things alone, however much they're in the East African community. Tanzania does this, Uganda does this. This one does not respond, the other one responds, and it's part of all of the countries involved. What would you say about that disconnection?
I think it comes to, you see, during the East African community, by the time it collapsed, yes. Kenya had most of the industries,
yes.
Kenya had most of the services of the East African community. So at the end of it all, even when it collapsed, it remained with them.
Yes.
It had a way forward with the few old and more they had.
Yes.
So now with Uganda, we are trying to go industrial. That we are opening up industrial parks. We are calling upon investors to come to Uganda. Just yesterday, the president was in South Africa and termed Uganda as a good as Uganda having a good investment climate,
yes.
Trying to attract more investors to Uganda. But still, when it comes to going industrial, we must look at how to handle it,
yes.
such that it does not substitute agriculture. Agriculture being a backbone of Uganda. We must not really substitute, this is my opinion, I really think we should not substitute agriculture for industries.
Just like the other day tourism was saying, do not substitute our environment with your power. You want power, you want to destroy the environment. Well, thank you very much for keeping it here on Smart 24 TV. We are talking about the Uganda-Tanzania Business Summit 2019 that is happening today in Dar es Salaam. We are going to have the reactions from MPs about this summit.
I am Macho Geoffrey, Honorable Member of Parliament for Busia Municipality on the board of Kenya and Uganda.
What's your perspective about the ongoing meeting between President Museveni and His Excellency Paul Magoola?
First of all, I just want to thank President Museveni for his zeal and courage towards the promotion of the Federation of East Africa. I keep calling him the grandfather of integration, because integration was started by Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. We now have President Museveni. And I believe that the integration has done a lot to an extent that we have now a meeting between President Magufuli, whom they call a bulldozer because of his policies, and President Museveni, whom we keep calling the state progress leader. This agreement, we see it as a benefit to our country, Uganda, in terms of trade, because we had many bottlenecks between Uganda and Tanzania. I think you all agree with me that Tanzania was not allowing Ugandans to use their national identity card to travel to Tanzania. But we believe these are some of the issues that are going to be ironed out. You all agree with me that last year Uganda had a challenge with Tanzania whereby almost 2,000 cattle keepers were sent back to Uganda. But I believe all this was because of lack of understanding of integration of East Africa. Me, as a member of parliament from Busia on the border, since Kenya and Uganda signed these bilateral trade agreements, our people has benefited a lot. And I believe even the people on the border of Tanzania will benefit a lot, because we had goods like eggs that were not going to Kenya, they are now going to Kenya. We had goods like sugar was not going to Kenya, it's now going to Kenya. We had goods like a cassava are now going to Kenya, because Kenya had factories, but those factories had no cassava to make starch. I therefore believe that small bottlenecks and issues we have been having, like Tanzania denying Uganda's sugar to be exported, all these are going to be handled. And you know, whenever they are handled, they create market for our goods and they improve on the income of our country.
Regarding security, what benefit does Uganda get from Tanzania?
We believe Tanzania, having settled for a long time in the area of peace and stability, and you remember history says Tanzania one time was a liberator to our country Uganda, where we even got the name of the Bakombozi, meaning liberators. I believe we're going to study a lot. And good enough, we have a joint East African Military Council. And I believe this council, which is doing the overview of supervising the boundaries and the territories of East Africa, to an extent that Southern Sudan is becoming settled because of this military joint council. I believe that with the experience of Tanzania as a government, through this bilateral exchange, our soldiers will have refresher training courses. Because now Uganda is settled, the fighting has stopped, there is peace and stability, and when countries get peace and stability, the soldiers go towards production and the reconstruction of their countries, which Tanzania is doing, because most big construction companies in Tanzania that are winning big tenders are military construction companies, which we can copy and come and implement here in Uganda.
Does this have a lesson to other East African countries or even other countries?
True, really. The collaboration, the trade agreements, the renewal of partnerships in trade between Uganda and Tanzania is a big lesson to our neighbors in the East Africa and even to member states. Because one, we're going to have issues like a transport. The transport from Kampala to Mombasa is far, but the transport from Kampala to Dar es Salaam is nearer. But we have countries who are landlocked, but they are using long routes because of lack of collaboration with the partner states. So this will be a very, very big lesson. And when such cooperation is built, Tanzania cannot allow Uganda to be in pain by hosting people who want to fight us, because we are friends. But all this is going to be involved in the agreements. But mostly the traders between these two countries are going to benefit, because we have a list called a list of common goods. a list which allows goods from East African states to move freely. It was signed by the partner countries. All traders who go through this and they are members of East African Federation, they don't pay import tax on those goods. And this was done to promote the trade between these two countries. So that is a very great benefit.
Your final remark.
When I see many people taking eggs to Kenya, that is a benefit. My final remarks, I request people to embrace this golden opportunity that President Museveni and President Magoola have created so that they do business to improve their income and develop our economies. Since our region is now stable with peace, we use this opportunity to improve our incomes and make our GDPs of both countries to grow.
My name is David Abala, in Bingora County, in eastern Uganda. So I think I have a few things to say. One, it's a blessing to this type of conference to be there. First of all, people share ideas. They share experiences. You know, Uganda needs more experience than technology, than ability. Because Ugandans, for example, some of them still fear to do business. But because now, like such conferences, when they sit and they discuss, they share experiences, they see. Because sometimes people believe by seeing. Now, when you're able to see, that means you'll be able to do something. Because some people take steps after they have seen it.
Could you measure the opportunities? It's a blessing, but could you measure the level of blessings?
First of all, in the area of trade, you know, Uganda is a landlocked country. Tanzania is next to the sea or Indian Ocean, but Uganda can actually pass there. Remember, even our oil is actually going up to Tanga. So it's one way of strengthening those ties. Two, in need of tourism. We all know that Uganda is almost a #1 tourism destination in entire Africa. So by mere fact that Uganda is discussing with the Tanzanians, and the issue is it will not end in that conference alone. It will go beyond, and many people will get to know that Uganda has all the opportunities. And then the other one is in terms of education. You remember, Uganda has the best type of education in the entire region. So by mere fact that Uganda is now sharing ideas with the other countries, it opens those opportunities for those countries between Uganda and Tanzania.
Regarding security, what's your take regarding security?
Of course, remember, we have a long history. Tanzanians have always supported this country from 1970s, from independence. Remember when there was issue between us with Amin, and it is Tanzania that helped in liberating this country. Even when the NRA were in the bush, it was actually Tanzania that was at the forefront. They gave them a lot of technical advice. They supported it, and that's what, for me, in my opinion, when the ties between Uganda and Tanzania are strong, there will be no way an opponent, there will be no way a terrorist or any team, a criminal, people who promote criminality can pass via Tanzania to come and inflict trouble in the country. Because that's why one thing, that's why I'm very, very happy, because this is kind of discussion is actually laying a foundation for the safety and the security of this country. And that's why I'm very, very happy. Because I'm sure it may not end there. Tomorrow, you are going to see the heads of the military, the police, the prisons. They will be sharing experiences on how to manage different issues in this region. And that's why you remember, Tanzania is a very good friend of this country. Because they are good friends, why not discuss? Because a friend is a friend who can take out to you to tell you there's a benefit here. Do A, B, C, D, and you'll be automatically.
My name is Mugeni Mili. I'm the woman member of Parliament, Butaleja District. I'm grateful about the agreement that will be signed between Uganda and Tanzania. This is the economic integration that the President has been talking about. We are happy about it as Parliament because we need to expand our market for our products. First of all, in the East African community, this was agreed upon that we should deal in business with the surrounding countries. So when this comes to pass, that is our prayer. And I call upon Ugandans that let us have good relationships with our countries that our neighbors, so that we promote the economic integration that we've been talking about.
Some people call this politics. What's your perspective about that?
But of course, Ugandans will always say that. But what is the best way of, having business with the neighboring countries? Of course, if it begins with the head of state, then the others will follow. If it fails out, then we shall look at the terms and conditions. But Ugandans should not fear this, because our market here in Uganda is not enough. We need to sell flowers, fruits, vegetables, but the market is so competitive within. So we have to look for better incomes elsewhere.
What lesson do other countries speak from this kind of summit?
I think other countries should just come on board. You cannot produce and sell to yourself. Markets are elsewhere which are bigger than what is inside your country. So I just call upon other countries also to widen their scope of marketing, so that Ugandans can also come in. And other people are also free to come to Uganda, deal in tourism, in so many things, that expansion of we have a lot of land to deal in infrastructure, industry, factories, because Ugandans need to be employed. And the population is growing each and every day. And even in the level of unemployment, especially among the youths, is also increasing. So when we have such agreements, many Ugandans will actually go to other countries to work there.
Final remarks?
My final remarks, I want to congratulate the President for coming up with this, and I know it will yield good fruits.
My name is Nambeshe John Baptist.
Yes.
I represent the people of Manjia. Manjia is in the disaster-prone district of Ruda.
Okay.
That is in the far east of Uganda.
What's your perspective about the summit ongoing between Uganda and Tanzania?
It is healthy to have such a summit, but how many summits have we had as a sub-region of East Africa?
Okay.
Numerous. Have they had any impact? None at all. So even this one, I pray that whatever good things, and by the way, they make very wonderful, brilliant resolutions. But the challenge we have as a country, Uganda, implementation of such resolutions is very poor. So they will discuss, they will arrive at very brilliant ideas, but seeing them come to pass is quite a challenge that Uganda has remained one of the countries in this East African region grappling with the implementation challenge.
So as a member of parliament, what have you done to make sure that the implementation, which is a challenge, comes to reality as well?
I keep castigating those powers that be in the government about this failure to implement. More often than not, I've come out and cried my voice hoarse. Even in the parliament here, there have been motionists that have been actually castigating government for failure to implement, for failure to have timely and efficient implementation of projects and efficient implementation of resolutions that are made. We have the best laws in the land. For instance, look at the decentralization policy. Kenya, Rwanda copied from ours. They implemented that to the letter and the spirit of the policy. Here we have failed. What we are witnessing is a continuous re-centralization of what would be decentralization. So it has failed. And we have such wonderful laws, pieces of legislation in place, but they are merely gathering dust. They have never been implemented. So we are the poorest in the region in implementation.
Those are good.
Yes, the best. We have the best laws on the land.
And the meeting is okay?
The meeting is healthy.
Okay.
It of course facilitates a cross-fertilization of ideas. But what are those ideas if they are not brought to bear, if they are not implemented? Useless.
Do other countries have a lesson to pick from this summit?
Why not? They will pick and implement. We shall pick and sit on it. I don't know who bewitched Uganda.
I'm Kasura Robert Sevinya. I'm the chairman, Tourism, Trade and Industry in the Parliament of Uganda. So it is a very good thing. Last month we were in Mombasa. also talking about that northern corridor to do with the trade, to do with the quick way, how people should move their commodities out of Mombasa using the standard gauge railway up to Naivasha. So that is one route that is important to us. But also opening another route through Dar es Salaam is also a very good thing. So what we are anticipating out of that engagement is that we shall get clearer ways of moving our commodities, our containers out of Mombasa to Kampala via Mutukula. So that is one of the things that they must be talking about. And secondly, in as far as our oil is concerned, the oil pipeline and whatever, that's also another thing that is going to help us. And two, the oil pipeline does not come alone. It comes with the roads, side roads on the pipeline. It comes with electricity lines on the pipeline, side of the pipeline. It comes with opening up that general corridor. So we need to have those two routes opened up and alternatives in Kenya and in Dar es Salaam. Being land linked, we need all options open. Just in case we get problems in Kenya, we have another route in Tanzania. We have problems in Tanzania, we have another route well streamlined in Kenya. So and it engages us as a country. We must look for ways how to export using those two routes. Much as we want to import, we want to export using those two routes, because what we need as a country is foreign exchange. And the only way we can get foreign exchange is by exporting. And if we can export cheaply, then that means we shall even get more money. So I think it's a good development.
Do other countries have a lesson to learn from this?
Yes, because Uganda has done so much. One, to up our energy reserves, and as far as enough electricity, we have opened up the roads border to border. You can move from Mombasa to Katuna on tarmac. You can move from Tanzania up to Mutukula, I think also on tarmac. So we want those roads opened, and it is good for us because that's when we shall get the economic value of these routes out of Uganda.
Before I let you go, one of your colleagues, the fellow member of parliament, said these meetings are okay, but the challenge is the implementation.
Yeah, implementation is always a challenge because we are a land-linked country and we rely so much on our neighbors, and we rely on them because we have, first of all, to have good working relations, good political relations, good economic relations. We need to market, to do business among each other. We need to be brotherly. So if we don't work on our security challenges, then we have problems. So what I'm hoping is to have good relations with Tanzania and Kenya.
Thank you very much. You're still watching this Smart 24 TV, and we are talking about the Uganda-Tanzania Business Forum 2019. We have live interviews in Dar es Salaam, and that is our correspondent, Saddam.
License, huduma za kodi na akapata certificate, lakini kwa mfanyabiashara wa kawaida ambaye sio mkubwa, yeye anaanza anapata kwa taasisi mbalimbali ambapo anatakiwa kupata
Hello, Wanji? Wanji? Hello? Yes, complete. Hello? Huh? Wanji?
Usalama na wanasema health and safety is like usalama na afya ya mfanyakazi mahala pa kazi. Yeah, like if you start a business, ukianza biashara wanakuja wanaangalia, je, mazingira ni mazuri kwa mfanyakazi? Yeah. Kwa hiyo nayo unaenda unafanya, afu baadaye unamalizia. Kuna watu wanaitwa Workers Compensation Fund. Workers Compensation Fund sasa wao wanalipa fidia in case mfanyakazi akipata ajali. Wanalipa. Kwa hiyo mchakato sio mrefu, ni mfupi tu, lakini muhimu mfanyabiashara anayeanza kuregister biashara Tanzania awe na taarifa zote kabla hajaanza. Hiyo inamsaidia zaidi. Na labda pia unaweza mjuza mtazamaji ni hela ngapi ambazo mwanzishaji wa biashara Sasa pesa zinatofautiana kulingana na capital ya mteja. Kwa mfano kufungua kampuni ndogo kabisa kwa ukienda kwenye taasisi ambayo inakupa company registration unalipia 95,000 tu, 95,000 ya Tanzania, ambayo sio nyingi. Sasa kadiri unavyoongezeka mtaji ndio bei inaongezeka, lakini maximum kabisa ni shilingi 440,000 kwa maana kufungua kampuni. Lakini sasa kuna taasisi nyingine itabidi uende nazo unalipia kidogo kidogo kulingana na capital ulionayo. Hamna flat amount, inategemea na capital yako.
Na pia itakuwa okay, tuseme mfanyabiashara
ndio
ametoka Uganda
anataka
kuanzisha biashara. Kuna anaweza akuhuru kufanyia biashara ile sehemu yote ambayo anasikia, ama kuna baadhi tu ya sehemu ambazo inafaa afanyie biashara?
Kwa sehemu yoyote tu anaruhusiwa. Anaruhusiwa kwa sababu kwanza serikali haizuii mtu wewe mfanya biashara unakwenda una negotiate na owner wa building au owner wa land wewe mwenyewe. Ukishapata agreement ile ndio unaleta serikalini kuiregister basi. Kwa hiyo it doesn't matter where as long as umeshakubaliana na mwenye location. Kwa sababu basically hawezi akakuta sehemu ambayo iko free. That area is owned by someone, si ndio? Kwa hiyo ata negotiate na wewe mwenye eneo alikopapenda mwenyewe atafanya biashara.
Okay, sawa. Na huyu mwanzishi biashara huyu ili yeye kupata leseni inafaa awe na kitambulisho au inafaa awe na pasipoti au kitambulisho pia kinaweza tumika?
Kwa mgeni anatakiwa kwanza awe na kitambulisho cha Uganda. Yani kitambulisho kwanza awe na passport. Sawa, kwanza passport. Lakini kitambulisho atapewa pia hapa cha Tanzania. Watu wanaitwa NIDA. NIDA. Lazima awe na kitambulisho cha NIDA kwa sababu ili upate TIN number ya kulipa kodi lazima uwe na NIDA. Kwa hiyo akija hapa na passport ataingia, atakuwa facilitated, atasaidiwa, atapata kitambulisho cha NIDA. Akipata cha NIDA kitamsaidia apate TIN number. Baada hapo basi anaendelea.
Okay, pia labda tulikuwa tunaomba kama unaweza kutuambia mchakato
kwa Kiingereza. Okay, my name is Faraja Mgwabati. I'm a consultant based here in Dar es Salaam. I work to support, to educate people who wish to start business in Tanzania.
Those ones coming from
I support those also who come from outside but also from within. Yes. A short brief on procedure of starting a business in Tanzania. You first need to have an ID. A passport from your country. Then when you arrive here in Tanzania, you can start the processes. But it is advisable that you also obtain national ID, NIDA, from Tanzania. Because it's a very, very important ID to start business here in Tanzania.
Well, you have said that a trader will need to have a passport.
Yes.
But of recent we have seen that the East African integration is moving towards allowing people to cross the borders without using the passport.
Yes.
Just use their
ID. Yes.
So for you to start a business, do you need specifically, can you start it with just the national ID of your country if you don't have a passport? Or if you don't have a passport, it is a bit difficult?
I'm afraid here it is not yet allowed in that one. You remember in the EAC, in East Africa discussions, Tanzania did not allow to even for those who are coming to use the ID, they have to use a passport. You remember that, huh? Yes. Now even starting business, you need to have your passport. ID from your country is currently not allowed, according to my knowledge. Yes.
Okay. So what would someone briefly, you will still continuing the process that someone would want to get a certificate of trade here in Tanzania?
Okay. After, for instance, you come from Uganda, you need your passport. You use your passport, then you get a TIN number, that is a taxpayer identification number. From there, you register your company. Whether it's foreign or domestic, you decide. When it's foreign, it means you are taking your Ugandan company here. That is regarded as a branch, as a foreign company. If you register a fresh company here, that is a local company. Okay. After registering, let's say you register a local company, then you have to go to another institution. You get a business license. In fact, not another institution, the same institution, they issue a business license. After business license, then you have to make sure that your office is registered with the occupational health and safety institution. Yeah, that is where they try to inspect your premises. They see if it is safe for your staff. Yeah, then they issue with the compliance certificate. After that, then you go to register your staff and your organization to NSSF, National Social Security. You see, so that your staff can be, you can contribute monthly amount to social securities. Then finally you go to Workers' Compensation Fund. You register with the Workers' Compensation Fund. This is specifically for compensation of employees who get injured during or get sick during the cause of employment. Yeah. So after that you are done, you can start your business. Some people can start business when they get business license. But then, of course, later the government can, some government institutions can come and ask you for the permit. If you don't have, then you are in trouble. So it's better you go through the entire process. Yeah.
Okay. Huyo alikuwa ni Bwana Faraja Mgwabati ambaye anatoa maoni au anakuelekeza ukitaka kuanzisha biashara hapa Tanzania. Na pia tutakuwa tunazungumza na mwanadada pia atakuwa pia anatujuza ni yapi ambao anatarajia katika kongamano hili, na hili kongamano kama hili linawasaidiaje wao kama wanabiashara ambao wanatupa maelezo katika majina tafadhali.
Naitwa Maria Ruben Mgwabati.
Yes, Maria, ni kipi ambacho unakitarajia?
Kitu ninachokitarajia ni ushirikiano kutoka nchi ya wenzetu, nchi mbalimbali, na pia kama Uganda ilivyosema hapo kabla kwamba mtu yoyote anahitaji kufanya biashara hapa Tanzania asiwe na uoga wowote. Yes, na wala asiogope taratibu, kwa sababu taratibu zetu ni ziko tu vizuri, zimepangwa katika utaratibu mzuri. Information zote zipo katika hiki kitabu, zimeandikwa kuanzia steps, requirements, costs mpaka time utakayoitumia kwa ajili ya kupata informations.
Well, you have heard from them, and actually Mr. Faraja actually in Swahili means happiness, kama sijakosea. Mr. Faraja has said that you will need, for more information, you can get yourself this copy on how to start a business here in Tanzania. The process, you've heard exactly everything that he has said. And of course, we shall also be moving to another section here, and where different peoples belonging to different organizations are here at the event.
I thought perhaps you could even take some.
Thank you very much for staying with us. This is Smart 24 TV Uganda, and we are broadcasting live from Naguru. We are talking Uganda Tanzania Business Summit 2019, and what you just saw, that was Saddam talking to some of the people that are at the stalls, and that's the exhibition part of the summit, where you get to show what you do, what you believe in, and what you can contribute to this summit as an entrepreneur, as a business person that will make everything better within the East African community, most especially between Uganda and Tanzania.
Of course, to the viewers out there, just to be assured that in the whole of Uganda, it's only Smart 24 TV that is bringing you the live broadcast of the Tanzania-Uganda Business Forum. So can just keep tuned to Smart 24 TV as we shall be bring you whatever will be is happening in TZ.
And that was Mr. Faraja, which name means happiness? Yes, he's Saddam a very happy man.
Saddam interpreted it very fast.
Yes, and he was talking about how to start a business in Tanzania. For example, if you are coming, if you're going to Tanzania, and maybe you're planning on leaving this year, you're shifting to Tanzania or something, and you're Ugandan. Now he was telling us how to start a business while you are there. I hope you watched and listened to some of those things.
You see, there are some things I would expect any national to bear.
Yes.
Mr. Faraja was talking about, he emphasized the issue concerning the national ID.
Yes.
When it gets back to Uganda here, we must get to the real need, and I mean how important getting a national ID is.
Yes.
Now you have seen this, you have realized this, that even when you go to TZ, still you'll be required to produce a national ID.
Yes.
So at the end of it all, it gets back to you to, I mean, we do this live broadcast now, like the one happening in Tanzania, so that you can get the actual atmosphere if you are to head there.
Exactly.
What would be required. Now, like I was talking about, to some of the requirements I would expect from any national, that you should have a national ID, you should have a passport, and I mean, like Mr. Faraj was stating it,
yes.
That of course, even in TZ, if you are to do business there, just know that at the end of it all, you have to acquire a business license. Now, the process of acquiring the business license, that's what we must compare between Uganda and TZ.
And Tanzania.
How long does it take? What does it require for one to get this business license? Because our colleagues are showing us how fast the process is, provided you have the requirements, how fast it will take you to get the business license.
That is the truth. And of course, we had something to do with what he thinks is going to help us between the two countries. Education, for example. He's a journalist, he's an entrepreneur, and he thinks that that is going to be very useful when it comes to education. We are going back to Dar es Salaam right now to see what more is happening.
Hili kikubwa nachotarajia ni katika kukuza biashara yetu, na pia kwamba malengo yetu sana tufike hadi nje ya nchi. Kwa hiyo katika kongamano kama hili ambapo tunakutana na mataifa mbalimbali, tunatarajia kwamba tuweze kusafirisha bidhaa zetu kutoka Tanzania na kuwapelekea ndugu zetu Uganda na nchi nyingine ambazo wanatarajia kufika hapa.
Naam, umemsikia Baraka, pia tutakuwa tunamuuliza mwenzake majina.
Mimi naitwa Saum Saidi, ni supplier wa Hajra Food Products.
Una matumaini yoyote ya kwanza kwenda kuanzisha biashara kama hii kule Uganda?
Matumaini yapo. Rais wetu anatuwezesha kama hivi makongamano makubwa kama haya, wajasiriamali wadogo kama sisi tunaweza kuinuka, kwa matumaini yapo.
Naam, umewasikia wanadada walivyosema kuwa pia wana matumaini kuwa wangependa kuanzisha biashara yao kama hii ya spices kule nchini Uganda, ama ukipenda Kampala. Naam. Wind up. Okay, sawa. Naam, na basi kufikia awamu hii narudi kwako mpenzi mtazamaji, mimi nimebaki Saddam Mubale.
Thank you very much for keeping with us. That is the Uganda-Tanzania Business Summit 2019 that is taking place at the Nyerere Convention Center in Dar es Salaam. And here at Smart 24 in the studio, I have Owen, and we are breaking down what is actually happening there. And of course, in touch with our correspondents that keep on telling us what exactly is on the actual ground, the atmosphere, what you, the Ugandan out there watching, you need to know about the summit in reality.
Based on what I'm witnessing from Tanzania, I can see there's a lot of, there's using Swahili as a means of communication.
Oh yes, I noticed
I like
that
how
too.
our correspondent Saddam is making it. Yesterday we were talking about what things should we really unify us in East Africa.
Yes.
And we zeroed to issues of the issue of language. now we are seeing what's happening.
And you know what's funny? I'm thinking that maybe some of our viewers must have wondered, why are we talking about language? Are you going to add our kids another language to study? But if you can see for yourself right now, we had someone speaking, and of course he was talking about a few things, because Owen and I can actually understand, yeah?
Yes.
So we were wondering, what are our viewers feeling at the moment, in case they do not understand the language? Yes.
Swahili.
So now this brings you the clear picture of what exactly is happening in the East African community, the language differences,
I think we need to,
the beliefs.
it's now time for us to accept that, to value Swahili as a language.
Yes.
Much as we like, English has taken over, but now you can see. Now this is, if we are to only focus on English, now just look at this market, Uganda, Tanzania.
Yes.
When you get to these markets, it's not that they are only for the educated.
Of course.
Even the non-educated are in these markets. So I mean, how the means of communication has to be valued, has to be considered. How many Ugandans are now are aware of Swahili, know how to speak Swahili, interpret it, and then when we get to our education system, how many schools? I mean, actually, Swahili is not compulsory in Uganda. But why is it compulsory if we are looking at the East African community, and this is a language which most countries are using? Because when you look at Rwanda is just changing to
that
English just of recent, but
I
it
wanted
was
to ask
using French.
Yes, I was going to interrupt you and say, what are our viewers thinking, hearing you saying that we are the ones to shift? Because, you know, now there are borders, like I was saying, there are certain things we have to let go of, and there are some things we have to keep. And there is a difference between the East African community and Uganda, then Tanzania, then Kenya. We are separate. And there are certain things that we shall always have, no matter how much we unite. So that is one of them. And I'm thinking, a certain viewer out there is saying, why should they learn Kiswahili? Are they learning Luganda? Have they learned Runyankole or another language? Why should we be the ones to shift and learn this? But thank you, Owen, because at least you highlighted the fact that many people are already speaking the language, which is why we have to get on board.
And of course, something else I've sensed in the correspondence Saddam and the team have given us, I'm seeing the number of women being high in this convention.
Yes.
Participation of women is high. I think this gets to issues of women empowerment, even empowering them economically.
Yes.
If we see them participating in these conventions, these forums, we need to get back on the seat, on the drawing board, and I mean, look at how our women here are empowered. Because if it comes to, I mean, even with the economics or business, they are really participating. And lots of women are in the informal sectors of now. You find them in markets everywhere along the road selling this and that.
Yes.
But I mean, how are we supporting them? When I talk of we, I mean you, me, the nation at large, from the, I mean the finances being extended to them. When we look at we have the Women Entrepreneur Program. I mean, how many women are participating, are beneficiaries of this program? How many would have been the beneficiaries of this program? Because what I know is that for anything, as of now, there must be gender sensitivity.
Yes.
Gone are the days when we thought that it's only men to get rich. That's why you come also here as early.
And when you speak like that, I like it, because you know why? I think that maybe most times we need to look at the output and look at the kind of work that people are doing. Instead of looking at their gender, why would you look at a woman and say that is a woman? So you have to think twice before you employ her. Look at what she's capable of doing and let her work. That's how it's supposed to be. As long as you can get what you plan for in your company, in your organization.
What I know that anything you do here and out there, just know that anything which is not gendered is endangered. Just be assured of that.
I like
if you
that.
don't make any gender considerations, whatever we do, women, girls have to be brought on board. We are seeing it, what's happening in Tanzania, that women have really participated in this convention. So when it gets back here, when we get back here to our Uganda, we need to find ways, I mean, how to find, to put favorable conditions, business conditions for the women to participate in their businesses. But of course, not letting it be that it's only men who can participate in the business.
So speaking of the East African Business Council, do you think that when some certain things happen before any of the countries involved, for example, Uganda, when we had that EU warning about our products, do you think that the East African business community should be able, should be able to come in and say, okay, look here, EU, this and this is happening to Uganda, speak on our behalf as a bigger family? Or should we pull out now? When something bad happens to Tanzania, they pull out and go and deal with it, and they can return when they're stable, mentally stable.
What happens to these regional blocks is that, yes, they may have a voice, but still, it begins with the country itself. The country itself has to initiate.
I like it because I wanted to know that now where our limit stops when you're trying to say East African community, and then there is Uganda, then there is Tanzania. Where do we stop? Do we have a line?
No, it may not really necessarily be all about having a line, but taking the initiative for improvement.
But you talked about taking an initiative. I will hold you there because a certain someone, that is, okay, well, I will say the name, that is MP, Manjia County, that is John Baptist. Yes, he just said implementation issues are the biggest issues in Uganda. The country faces that a lot.
But regarding implementation, my concern is on memorandum of understandings that are reached, that written, signed, and I mean, the time taken to implement what they have agreed upon. Just to take you back, if you looked at the recent memorandum of understanding that was signed between Uganda and Rwanda, if you are really analytical, has business really resumed between the two countries? Is the mobility like it used to be? So it gets back to even this issue of Tanzania, Uganda. Are we really how prepared are we to implement whatever will be agreed upon in this convention?
Yes, because otherwise it would be pointless if we go there and write and sign and, you know, meet all these people from all over the world and take their knowledge in and store it and not do anything about it.
But also it gets back to our legislators, like we had the MPs giving their submissions.
Yes, we had their reactions earlier, and the truth is some of them are actually really positive. Now the Nansana Municipality MP, that is, yes, Sebunya, he said we have to keep our options open. Whatever we do in this summit, we have to keep our options open because that is the only way that we are going to open our eyes as a country.
Actually, it's all about getting positive first of all. Before we think about the negativity of some of these forums, conventions, and whatever, let's first stay positive about them. How can we benefit? We analyze how we can benefit, and if we see that we are above the margin line of how much we shall lose, then it's better we carry on with the, some of these opportunities that come on board. But I was talking about the issue of legislators, that even the East African Legislative Assembly, I mean, our MPs there should strive high to ensure that they set laws that make the East African countries, I mean, they enjoy, the laws should create a better relations between the countries, to ensure that some of these barriers are really addressed, because time and then issues get back to the East African Legislative Assembly, but how much is brought back to us as having been passed, that for the good of East Africa, this should be in place, such barriers should be abolished to ensure that the relations are really good.
And of course, when we always talk about politics, and we say everything that comes from politics affects the economy, affects trade, but also some things that are from trade, facing trade, they affect the stability of the country, which now in turn is the politics. So we have to merge the two and make sure that things are happening the right way they need to be happening. Otherwise, we shan't be doing anything. There are several forums that are happening, the business summits, and the president was in South Africa the other day, and I noticed that some people actually thought, why did he have to go there? What was he doing? Like, we had this thing planned for yesterday, but it was postponed to today because he couldn't make it in time. And some people were wondering, why would you have to cancel this because you have to go to the other one first? But you notice that these things are what are driving our economy. And the people in Uganda in particular here, because I don't know about Tanzania, but people in Uganda have to be sensitized and told that these things are really important, extremely important. So if you can actually make it there, you need to just go.
Yeah. So about these forums, this will not be the end of the forums, but of course more will be coming. But as I said, we need to look at the opportunities that are expected from these forums. Than having a negative attitude towards them. We don't need to so much have negativity about them, the loss we might incur. Yes, such things can happen because these are business forums. In business, you expect two things: profit or loss. So when they come, when they are actually brought on board, let's get involved.
And we need to
our delegation that has accompanied the president will bring back that information for implementation.
Of course.
For implementation.
For implementation.
Not just remaining with the handouts and whatever that will be given out during the convention.
And of course, when we speak of that, we talk about implementation, and we mean it when we say relatable laws and a level ground for all of our trade to take place.
But of course, as per the schedule, we must confirm that based on the agenda that was released for the forum, they are a little bit behind the schedule. But of course, I know they will fix some time to deal with whatever they put on the agenda, because as of now, we must be having a preliminary of East Africa as an attractive investment destination. I think you can really realize that the issue is beyond just Uganda, and it's not only about Uganda and Tanzania, but the community, the East African community as a whole. So they will be discussing how investment is attractive in East Africa, and of course, we expect them to discuss harmonizing regional strategies and partnerships in the emerging data economy. Of course, this is a drive towards promoting science and technology. Still, it was expected to be within this hour, or from 10 to 11. Technology development, the way forward. When you look at one of the issues they are going to handle, that's about cryptocurrency. It calls for advancement in technology, that you have to use a smartphone, you have to use your computer to access the cryptocurrencies. Now, technological advancement, what I really think that they should address, in my opinion, the cost of data. The cost of data by the service providers, it is still high. I can give you an example, like here, if you had, say, an online radio station, it may be hard for you to listen to a program for even 30 minutes. Just because of the cost of data. The cost of data is still high. So we really hope that they look at harmonizing, put modalities on how data within the economies can be really be affordable by the
and of course that
natives.
Involves online trading, yes, between the two countries, because not everybody is going to move from here to Tanzania to be able to, you know, give their services and products, but they'll be able to do online trading. I'll put up what I'm selling and you will have a look and make an order, then I'll be able to ship it to you. And so that is what we are talking about, harmonizing the two countries and making the trade and business very accessible when it comes to our people.
But Vela, when it comes to, much as we are calling for reduction in that costs on data, let's flash back to our Uganda, how people are using their data.
What they're using it
What they're using it for. Is it for business or for just leisure? You know, you exchange those, pics and, you know.
But you know that a certain percentage of people always get their job interviews online. Most of them actually get their appointments online. It may not be official. It may just be something really, you know, like on a personal level. I say, when can I see you? I'll see you tomorrow. Come bring your papers and all that stuff. So people need the data anyway, no matter what they are using it for, unless you say there is some certain monitoring that should be put in place, which is really difficult.
So when it comes to issues surrounding our call for low costs on data, so it gets back to you, the buyer of the data, to me, the buyer of the data, to what use am I apportioning my data for?
Yes.
Is it all about, if you look at the social media platform, talk about Facebook, how many adverts do you read on Facebook? How many people post their businesses on Facebook and any other platforms? When it gets to WhatsApp, I had some dignitary stating that the tax which was imposed on our data, the OTT, would hope to reduce on the Lugambo, on social media, would hope to reduce on the Lugambo. So it gets back to you. Much as our leaders are getting on board to find ways on how some of these emerging issues can be addressed, but it calls for your initiative, your input, to ensure that as they're discussing this, signing memorandum of understandings, it gets back to you, to your pocket. And to your people, of course. Yeah. Now, the government was considering Wi-Fi for the entire country. Isn't that a very good move? It's a good move. Does it address your question of, you know? In Kampala, we see just a number of spots. With Wi-Fi, you just find your phone which was in a pocket. You find just when it has downloaded a number of things, just from the spots. Yeah. But of course, it's a good move. But I've seen still people in some of those Wi-Fi spots. People still go there, not for business, to get that Wi-Fi, not for necessarily for business, but they are personal issues, personal communication on personal, affairs. So it gets back to the use of, what are we using the data for? If we are calling for free internet in most of the places, are we ready? Are we set to make the best, to receive the best benefit of the data, the Wi-Fi we are calling for? You realize the underlying problem is not the misuse of the data, it is unemployment. You are home from morning to evening, and the best you can do is watch a certain soap on your phone, you know. And if you had something to do, for example, if you're here at Smart 24, I don't think you'd be using the data to watch soccer or anything. Not really. So this is Smart 24 TV. We broadcast live from Naguru, but of course we are having a broadcast from Tanzania for the Tanzania-Uganda Business Forum 2019. Our reporters are there, Saddam, Bashir, JK and others, to ensure that we get the rightful information from TZ today, more so that this was shifted from yesterday to today. Thank you very much for staying with us. Of course, we really appreciate our viewers for staying with us. Go over to our social media. We are live on Facebook. That is Smart 24 TV Uganda. And Twitter is at Smart 24 TV. Thank you very much, really, for keeping with us. We are going for a break, but we'll return shortly.
Smart 24.